My goal is to help you solve a total intake problem with a piggyback infusion. Let's take a moment to read the problem. The patient has an order for D5W to infuse at 40 milliliters per hour and an IV of 2.25 grams of medication in 50 milliliters of D5W every 12 hours to infuse at 100 milliliters per hour. The medication is to be infused piggyback with the maintenance IV. How much total IV fluid will the patient receive in a 24-hour period? At the lower left, there is a link. If you click on that link, it will take you to a video where you can review the concept of a piggyback infusion. In this video, I will not take time to fully explain the concept, but will apply it to this scenario. We are going to look through the word problem to find important information. The maintenance fluid, or the primary IV for our patient, the large bag of the setup, is to infuse at 40 milliliters per hour. The secondary bag, the small bag of medication, has 50 milliliters, and it's to be given every 12 hours at a rate of 100 milliliters per hour. The infusion is to be a piggyback infusion, meaning that the two fluids never mix, so that I need to stop the maintenance IV, infuse the medication, and then restart the maintenance IV. We are to calculate the amount for a full 24-hour time period. We will start with the secondary infusion of medication. The secondary bag is to be given every 12 hours, so within a 24-hour period, we will be giving 2 doses of the medication. Each individual bag has 50 milliliters, so if I multiply the 2 doses times the volume, I find that the total volume to be given of medication is 100 milliliters. I also need to know the time that it takes to administer the medication because I need to stop the main IV to do so. So I take the total volume, 100 milliliters, and multiply it by the rate. However, I have to be careful in setting this up so that my label of milliliters cancels and my answer is in hours. I see that the rate is 100 milliliters per hour. The 100 milliliters goes on the denominator of my fraction. And I could have done this math in my head, but I set it up for you. I see that the infusion for the secondary bags, both of them together, will take 1 hour of the day. Now I can calculate the main IV. The primary IV would run for full 24 hours, except that we need to stop it to infuse the medication. I will subtract the time for the medication and calculate that the primary IV will run for 23 hours. The primary IV is to infuse at 40 milliliters per hour. That means that each of the hours infuse 40 milliliters. Again, although I intuitively understand the problem, I'm taking the time to set up the dimensional analysis so that you can see how the math works. When I do this multiplication, I find that the primary IV 23 times 40 infuses 920 milliliters. In order to get the total, I want to add together what is received from the medication and what is received from the primary IV. Together they total 1,020 milliliters, and that is the total intake from the 2 IVs for a 24-hour period.